Welcome back to Gatabud. This is my hard mode Fort Condor video. This minigame is one of those things you either love it or you hate it. Personally, I love it, but I can see the argument for those who don't. For all 4 battles for the troops, I went with the offensive focused loadout. The reason being is I view the catapult as absolutely essential to win. The meta in the original 1997 Fort Condor minigame was to load up catapults and try to bottleneck the advancing troops, and it is still the meta for hard mode today. So look carefully where I place these behind the secondary base units. The reason you want to put them slightly behind is because if enemies do advance into your base, they will attack the base unit first before they destroy your catapults. After the catapult is placed, I will place a unit that is super effective against the first advancing unit and try to bottleneck them and let as many enemies get hit by flying boulders as possible. You got to remember that Fort Condor is kind of like rock, paper, scissors in the regard that the 3 major types are super effective against one and weak to the other. The blue shield icon is the Enforcer, and it is weak to the bow and arrow icon Ranger class. And it is super effective against the red sword Vanguard type. The red sword Vanguard type is super effective against the green Ranger type. Knowing this will dictate your decisions as to what comes out and when. Now, as far as heroes goes, for this matchup specifically, I went with Cloud and Tifa because I felt like the Enforcer and Vanguard types matched up better against what I saw on the enemy loadout. Now, as this battle progresses and I feel like I am established, I want to favor the Enforcer and the Vanguard units to charge the hero gauge to make progress towards bringing out Cloud and Tifa. My loadout will change periodically hero-wise on all of these though. At this point I am putting pressure on the opponent, but I am still kind of unable to fully break through and start attacking the actual base. And on this one, I had a really good idea to try to plop my 3rd catapult where it would start attacking the base. I just picked a very bad time to do it. I strongly recommend you do this, but wait until the enemies aren't bombarding you. What I should have done there is play another Vanguard and try to finish getting Tifa out as quickly as possible. That one decision is going to come close to blowing this matchup completely. Honestly, had I done this matchup wouldn't have been nearly as close because I would have been able to bring out the hero on the enemy side of this map, but instead, I let the enemy almost mount a comeback. So now here I am in a self-inflicted state of panic. I have 1 out and 1 out only. Get these heroes out ASAP. Cloud is finally going to be ready to go though, and he's going to bail me out. When you bring out your hero, they make a grand entrance and wipe out pretty much everything around them right out of the gate. And then once those heroes are out, it's pretty hilarious how easily this battle is actually won. This should have been over a minute plus ago. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I got lucky by getting bailed out by the 2 heroes at the final seconds of this matchup. For round 2, hero-wise, I decided to switch to Barret because I saw wyverns in the opponent loadout and I wanted my hero to be able to take down aerial opponents. This matchup starts with the enemy going heavy on the right side, so I set up the catapults there. Enforcer beats Vanguard, so that's what I bring out first to bottleneck. And that helps me get Cloud out faster, so it's a win-win. A bunch of Rangers followed, so I had to bring out an Elite Vanguard, even though that doesn't contribute to a hero. And then I keep doubling down on Enforcers to try to get Cloud out as quickly as possible, and my base structure offers a little bit of offense. If you watch my Junon video, you might recall that I would just let the enemies come to the base before I summoned anything and let the base assist in defeating them. Well, in hard mode, that doesn't work quite as well, but the bases are still useful to try to get a little extra push early on conserving your resources. And on this particular example, I lose the bird to the right, but it is okay. That bird did just enough to help me hold off the right-hand onslaught, and now the left-hand side onslaught begins. What little troops I did have left just ran up the right side to attack the enemy base. So, gotta start over. And because Enforcers come first, that means you bring out your Green Rangers. I'm able to get Cloud out by bringing out more Enforcers, but there's a little bit of a problem. He's ready when I have to beat a bunch of Rangers, but I gotta do something, so Cloud comes out and gets almost destroyed by the Rangers, but does just enough to continue my advance towards the enemy base. I know that if this is going to be won, it is going to be because of Barret, and it's going to be a last-second win, and it just is what it is. That is indeed what happened, and in retrospect, I think an argument could be made that perhaps Tifa might be better than Cloud, because I found myself having to use Vanguards when I didn't want to, and the time that I brought Cloud out, Tifa would have done a lot better against all of those Rangers. We're on to round 3, though. Round 3 is where it starts to get a lot less forgiving for mistakes. I had far from perfect rounds 1 and 2. That's just simply not allowed here. This battle opens up from the right side first. You need to get one catapult down and get your Enforcer out to clog that lane, and then you need to quickly pivot to the left side because it's about to get a lot worse from that end, and my 3 ATB Elite Vanguard cannot come more quickly at this point for this fast-moving Ranger. And then I have to Vanguard the right side. Again, the argument for Tifa is there. Should we be using Tifa instead of Cloud? And at this point, the floodgates are going to begin to open from both sides. You just simply could not generate enough troops quickly enough to stop it. I go with a second left-hand catapult because that's where the bigger threats are coming from, and I have 0 rangers to deal with 3 enforcers. And then you finally get a ranger out, only for a wyvern to spawn on the other side. You just can't get an edge here on advancing early in this match. One thing that would have been nice to been able to include so far is a cleric. There just simply is no room to fit one in with the ATB requirements. I'm finally able to get enough enforcers out to bring Cloud out without compromising my troop selection, and that's what lets this battle finally begin to take a turn for the better. And shortly after that, the same can be said for Barrett on the other side. And now this is quickly becoming winnable. I've weathered the storm. I have survived. Now it's my turn to launch the offensive. And it's also at this point that I decide that clerics are now viable to bring out because I need the heroes to survive at all costs no matter what. So I want lots of cures coming out. And when I say this was a last second barely won, I'm not kidding. Just barely got out of this one with a win. Bring on round 4. Round 4 already is going to start in a weird way you're probably not expecting based on precedence. I only believe that one catapult can be used for defensive purposes here. So I only put the one on the right hand side. And we're bringing back my normal mode strategy of let the side birds help you beat enemies because they bring out 2 hounds on the left hand side that move super fast and you're not going to stop them. Just let them come to the bird and bring out some units there to deal with it. You just have to make sure the middle bird doesn't go down. The left and the right birds can be sacrificed. That lone vanguard is going to be enough to fend off the wolves, and we lose the left-hand bird. It's okay. The catapult also doesn't make it on the right-hand side. Now here I do something a little unconventional. First, I make a mistake by picking a ranger to try to take out a vanguard. It just doesn't work. The ranger goes down very quickly. So what do? I start throwing out a bunch of enforcers against some archers to bring out Cloud quickly and just get rid of them. The base on this level is weird in that it changes types mid-fight and also has like this aura around it that inflicts slow and or stop. So your vanguards and your enforcers just stop being useful and just do nothing for a lot of the time. So Barrett's like super important for this fight. And the catapults end up doing a ton of your damage because they're outside that aura. You just have to make sure the catapults don't get attacked by the base because you have some troops in between the base and the catapults. They'll get taken out that way. So you have to be a little delicate on how you do this, but it works. I get Barrett ready, but I see some larger threats on the way, so I hold him back for just a little bit to make his grand entrance. And once I'm sure the enemies are pursuing my troops, I start to bring out the 2 catapults. You put them in this exact spot, and it will attack the base. Once the Wyvern is out, I decide it's Barrett time, and we are on a full-blown assault with almost a full minute left. And this was executed the best out of all of my battles so far and turns into a blowout. You can see me mouth not even close. That's a blowout. Congratulations on another step closer to your Platinum Trophy. Fort Condor Hard Mode, not so bad after all if you are prepared and know what you are doing. I hope to see you again soon, and until next time, my friends, thank you for tuning in to Gatabud.